Donald Trump is panicking as his bluff has been called in his disastrous and unlawful war against Iran. Donald Trump yesterday morning claimed he had negotiated a peace deal with Iran in order to manipulate the markets. Iran responded swiftly, saying there has been no direct or indirect communications with the United States. This is part of Donald Trump's psychological warfare against Iran. It is intended to buy time while Donald Trump sends over troops from Japan, from San Diego, and from Fort Bragg, the 82nd Airborne Division. Iran said they are prepared and ready for that. And then Iran said it was part of Donald Trump's efforts to manipulate the market. Iran then started mocking Donald Trump for saying things like Donald Trump and the Ayatollah would control the Strait of Hormuz together. And I think after a full day of watching Donald Trump lie, and lie some more, tell me what else is new. The markets are now reacting to the fact that this was yet again another Donald Trump fraud and scam. Brent crude oil prices surged back above $100 a barrel last night as Iran denies peace talks with the U.S. And they also say they're not ready to have discussions. They believe that they have the upper hand controlling the Strait of Hormuz, that the United States is in this quagmire, and that they are prepared for any invasion by the United States to try to take over Karg Island. Now, you have the following just raw data out there. And Mikey Stein posts the following. A source familiar with details told the Jerusalem Post that the deployment and arrival of U.S. forces are proceeding as planned. Currently planned 2,500 Marines, approximately 2,000 sailors, 3 amphibious ships, 3,000 paratroopers, and the 2,500 Marine Expeditionary Unit from Japan aboard the USS Tripoli is expected to get here on Friday in the Middle East, which is that 5-day period that Donald Trump claimed that there would not be any strikes on Iran. It should be noted that last night, there were strikes on Iran by the United States and Israel, to which Iran then retaliated against Kuwait. So after Donald Trump said there would be no strikes for 5 days, not only were there strikes, but U.S. and Israeli projectile strikes hit gas pipelines feeding power station in Iran's various regions. In Isfahan and Karam Shar were both hit. So the IRGC's FAR news agency said that U.S. and Israeli airstrikes targeted Iranian energy facilities last night, including the gas management building and a gas pressure reduction facility in Isfahan and a gas pipeline feeding the Khorram Shah power plant. Here is footage of the strikes in Isfahan. As Laura Rosen says, if these targets are accurate, would this be considered civilian infrastructure? Dropsite puts it as follows. U.S.-Israeli strikes hit energy and water infrastructure in Isfahan and Khorramshahr and Bushehr, according to Iranian media and local accounts. Fars News said the attacks damaged a gas administration building and a gas reduction station on Kaba Street in Isfahan, a major city in central Iran, along with nearby homes. In Khorramshahr, a port city in southwestern Iran near the Iraqi border, a projectile struck the area around the power plant gas line, though officials said there were no casualties. Separately, in Bushehr, a southern Gulf province already facing water shortages, apparently a key desalination facility and an adjacent meteorological office were struck. Yusuf Sobhani Nasab, head of the Bushehr Airport Meteorological Office, was killed while on duty, according to Tasnam News. The facility plays a key role in forecasting and managing water resources in agriculture and water-scarce provinces. It's unclear why it was being targeted, although that was the threat. So then you have a statement from the Iranian Revolutionary Guard spokesperson last night who stated the following. The American-Israeli aggression targeted energy facilities in the central cities of Isfahan and the southern city of Khorramshahr, affecting gas supply lines to the Khorramshahr power plant, leading to a complete power outage in the city. As a result, the Revolutionary Guard leadership has decided to respond against all power stations in Israel and the Arabian Persian Gulf. So what happened in Kuwait shortly thereafter? And by the way, this all happened after Donald Trump's like, oh, we have been having productive conversations with the Iranian leadership. And if they're denying it, maybe they need a better PR person, like someone who can help them with their public relations. And what the Trump regime is saying, we're speaking with a guy in Iran who's like super hot. You know, his name is Ghalibaf. He's the leader of their parliament. Super hot option. What do you think this is? Some sicko game of Apprentice? A super hot option? This is literally the article from Dasha Burns, who spoke with Trump about who Trump claims he's talking to. Ghalibaf, Mohammed Baghdad Ghalibaf, the head of the Iranian parliament. The Trump regime says he's a really hot option. He's a good potential partner, maybe a future leader. And Ghalibaf is like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? I'm not speaking to you. I don't want to speak to you. I'm not speaking to Witkoff or Kushner or Vance. Go away. We're not talking to you. Stop pretending that we're involved in negotiations. And then, as I mentioned earlier, Iran is like posting memes of Donald Trump, of a car that has a steering wheel and a baby steering wheel, and saying, look, Donald, you and the Ayatollah are controlling the Strait of Hormuz together. So you have the following retaliation from Iran last night. 7 power lines knocked out as Kuwait faces a new wave of missile and drone attacks. The Ministry of Electricity and Water said 7 power transmission lines were knocked out after being struck by falling shrapnel during an initial wave last night. A new wave of attacks and interceptions followed shortly thereafter, with intense explosions reported as air defense attempt to engage them. Authorities said emergency and technical teams are working to assess the damage and restore electricity as quickly as possible. Take a look at these photos right here. Drop Sites done a good job aggregating this, showing power cut off in Kuwait. A senior Iranian official, Mohsen Razeh, said last night, if you strike our infrastructure, it will no longer be an eye for an eye. It will be an head for an eye. You will be crippled. Iran then launched these cluster munitions that they've been releasing into Israel. Take a look right here at this footage showing the efforts of Israeli air defense systems over Tel Aviv during Iran's most recent ballistic strike on the country. Let's play this clip.
יש פה מלא נפילות, איציק. בום.
Also, Iranian ballistic missiles targeted northern Negev in Israel as well, and Haifa. Meanwhile, U.S. officials have told the Washington Post that they no longer believe it is possible to achieve the war's original goals of overthrowing the Iranian regime and putting its nuclear program permanently out of reach. Instead, their goal is to now open up the Strait of Hormuz, which is an issue that they caused by launching this attack on Iran in the first place. I mean, this is going from bad to worse to catastrophic. And while we're at it, Kim Jong-un's just posting photos of himself in front of nuclear ballistic missiles and saying, our nuclear power is irreversible, and no word for Donald Trump. By the way, Iran strikes on Kuwait, on Saudi Arabia, on Bahrain, on Israel is part of what it's referring to as its 78th wave of retaliatory Operation True Promise 4, is what it's saying. We also are seeing over here, we talked about this yesterday, a Chinese-owned feeder container ship became one of the first vessels reported with confirmed mainland Chinese ownership, paying Iran a passage through the Strait of Hormuz, transitioning via a so-called safe shipping route near the corridor of Tehran's Larak Islands. And one of the things we know has taken place as well is Iran has put these mines all throughout the Strait of Hormuz as well. Want to talk about the market manipulation that Donald Trump engaged in yesterday. So traders placed, Kobayashi letter, great job analyzing this. Traders placed about $580 million worth of oil trades 15 minutes prior to Trump's post about a potential peace deal with Iran yesterday morning, which was all fabricated and false. 6,200 Brent and WTI future contracts were traded between a 1-minute period, 6:49 a.m. and 6:50 a.m. Then $1.5 billion worth of S&P 500 futures were traded at the exact same moment between that 1 minute of time. Now, it's not known whether one entity or several entities were behind these trades, but these trades likely generated over $100 million at least worth of profits in 20 minutes and likely more. And right now, we're seeing this pattern repeat where Donald Trump manipulates the markets Sunday and Monday. Then he lies about everything that's happening as part of the manipulation. It then becomes known that this was all manipulation. The markets crash on Tuesday. The price of oil surges. Treasury yields surge. I mean, we're going to have 7%, 8% mortgage soon. We're going to have $150, $175 per barrel of oil soon. And systemically, when Donald Trump does these lies, it just makes things so much worse. We're running out of LNG, liquefied natural gas from the Middle East now in about 8 days. Critical resources like helium, that's very important for like MRIs. That is going to be impossible to salvage, meaning good luck trying to get MRIs soon. Fertilizer prices surging. Our farmers are going to need a massive bailout. Wait until you see the next inflation readouts. It is going to be devastating. Wait until you see the next jobs report. It is going to be absolutely devastating. And meanwhile, the United States is trying to leverage this like the mafia to attack the European Union. Donald Trump yesterday threatened EU's favorable access to the United States LNG shipments if they don't implement trade deals with the United States. So Trump leveraging the fact that Europe gets a lot of its LNG from the Middle East, and that's about to be completely gone. But think about this. Now you're saying if you want our LNG, you have to basically pay the United States a bribe, in essence, in my opinion, right? So think about if you're Qatar, if you are the LNG production factories there and in the Middle East, you're like, so we gave you private jets. We gave you all of these things. We put money into Kushner's this and your stupid this and your crypto. And now you're screwing us and then shaking down the EU because you're going to be the only main supplier of LNG. Screw that. And there's other third and fourth and fifth type of level consequences to all of this. You know, lots of those Middle East countries invested in American media companies and private equity companies and bought our treasury bonds and put their money into American real estate, right? They're going to stop doing that. And they've already stopped doing that, right? So that's going to impact lots of business here in the United States as well. What I see yesterday, Apollo capped its redemptions for one of its main funds after a lot of money was being withdrawn. Like I think it was like 11% redemption rate. And so they had to cap it. That's a bad sign right there. And so in short, in sum, Donald Trump came up with this scam yesterday morning. We have a deal. It was quickly smoked out by Iran. Iran called the United States out for it. Escalation last night into this morning, more severe and significant than perhaps at any time of the war. LNG, that time has basically expired. See you later, Qatar. This war shows no sign of ending soon, and the U.S. and Israeli strikes on Isfahan and Kashmir and other areas means Iran retaliates, things escalate, and things get worse. Right? I mean, just Donald Trump could have said yesterday. Imagine if he said this yesterday. After speaking with, rather than say we made a deal, which is a lie, what if he just said, first off, we shouldn't have gone into this war in the first place, right? It's an unlawful war. It's despicable. It's horrible. Let's make that very clear at the outset. But what if Donald Trump was just like, after speaking with our Middle East allies, we've realized that we're not going to attack energy infrastructure because we think that right now is the time to de-escalate and we need to come up with a plan. We still intend to, make sure we protect our interest in the Middle East and then start towards de-escalation rather than looking weak and pathetic and being like, we've made a deal. And Iran's like, yeah, no, you didn't. You're like lying. What the hell are you talking about? Or what's Donald Trump saying? We have like 15 points that we agreed to. This is what Trump said yesterday on the tarmac. Play this clip.
Tito, you said there's many points of agreement with Iran right now.
Many.
What, can you give us a
Many, like 15 points. 15 points.
Iran has said yes.
Well, they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. That's number one. That's number 1, 2, and 3. They will never have a nuclear weapon.
They said yes to that?
They've agreed to that.
And Donald Trump's like, this isn't a war. This is a special operation. By the way, that's what Putin calls his invasion of Ukraine, a special operation. Here's what Trump says. Let's play this clip.
Period that they call a war. They call it a war. We call it a military operation.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think about all of this, okay? We're going to break this all down clearly, succinctly, fact. By the way, shout out Scott McFarlane, eh? The newest addition to the MeidasTouch network. Go check out at Scott McFarlane News on YouTube. Subscribe to his platform as well, hey? Hit subscribe. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.